Hello, this is George Hutton, and you're listening to the Mind Persuasion Podcast. Today we continue our study of money brain. For more information, please visit mindpersuasion.com/money-brain. In today's podcast, we'll be talking about how to awaken your natural learner. Getting from where you are to where you want to be with respect to money-making skills will require you go through learning curves. Some will be short and easy. Others will be long and confusing. And since making more money, something you'll always want, will require learning more skills, either new skills or improving existing skills, you'll need to embrace the idea of lifelong learning. This may be counter to what you may have been taught in school. However, as we've discussed before, even going to school and getting a complicated degree is only the beginning. A career will have plenty of learning on its own, only it won't usually be associated with learning. If you are lucky enough to have a job at a strong company that will stay in business in the foreseeable future, you'll still need to learn new things as new technology is developed and implemented. Only on the job is called training, and it's generally something that somebody else sets up and takes responsibility for. Consider one of your main responsibilities as deciding what you need to learn and then making the effort to learn it. This means you may need to reawaken your natural learner. This is very much like a muscle. If you exercise it regularly, it will be strong and healthy. If you ignore it, it will weaken. We'll assume, like most, your natural learner hasn't been used, at least at full strength, for a while. Consider the idea of treating your natural learning mind just like you would your body. It needs regular exercise, not just once in a while, but consistently as long as you are alive. Ease into learning. If you are like most, you have a job that isn't particularly stimulating, then you come home and relax. The things you feed your mind are not things that you'd consider educational. Even many documentaries are really made for entertainment. They are about certain people or events that are infamous more than educational. If you already do make a habit of watching documentaries on less infamous subjects and more educational, then you are ahead of most. If you don't, then consider easing into it. As with all new behaviors, we recommend easing into them as slowly as possible. The goal is not to hurry up and get it done or to think in terms of doing it until it's permanent. Consider instead of thinking in terms of building up a lifelong habit. The slower you go, the more permanent the habit will become. Habits can become permanent, but skills cannot, at least money-making skills. Consider shifting the time you spend every day from pure entertainment to a little bit of education, passively at first. Choose some documentaries or anything similar that you can spend a few minutes watching every day. If you aren't particularly interested in any topics, choose a few at random and watch a few minutes every day for a week or so. Watch for 5 to 10 minutes just to build a habit. Eventually, you will find something that sparks your natural curiosity. Don't try to think in terms of watching things to learn new skills to make money. For now, we're more concerned with waking up your natural curiosity and strengthening your natural learner. Increasing learning involvement. Watching passively is the easiest way to get into learning. Once you find a topic you are interested in, see about finding books to read on the subject. Reading takes a bit more brain power than watching. Make sure you find a topic that is interesting enough to warrant reading about it. Once you find a decent book on an interesting enough subject, ease into it. Read only a few minutes at first. Avoid the temptation to read through more quickly than is enjoyable. If you ever push yourself too much, you will taint your natural curiosity with a feeling of self-generated pressure. Consider instead reading only while you are interested. Ideally, you'll read for a few minutes, and when you are finished, you'll feel as if you could have read a little bit more. This will leave you with a much stronger curiosity-driven desire to learn more. This is what you are building, that natural curiosity that drives you to want to know more. If you push yourself beyond the point of comfort, you'll end up having a mix of curiosity, boredom, and frustration. Take your time. Switching on your full learner. Watching is easy, reading is a little bit more difficult. Once you have fully switched on your creative learner, you can begin brainstorming and free-noting on the subject. Brainstorming and free-noting are very similar. It's when you are taking the ideas out of your brain and putting them on paper, writing them out either longhand or electronically. The main point is to write as freely and as unrestrictedly as you can. For example, suppose you find yourself interested in history of ancient empires, and you've watched a few videos and even courses on the Roman Empire, the Sumerians, and the Egyptians. A free-noting example would be just to start writing about the similarities you can find in each of those empires and our current society. This isn't to lead you to any money insights. Rather, it's simply to train your brain to take in non-entertainment information and then use that as a structural model through which to view other things. Once you are looking out in your current environment with filters that are informed by whatever non-entertainment information you've been consuming, this will give you very powerful lateral thinking ability. Lateral and structural thinking. Most of us think in content, but our brains are drawn toward familiar structures. For example, most movies and television shows have different content, different characters with different backgrounds and different scenarios, but most of them have a very similar structure. Bad guys, good guys, underdogs, teams of less than skilled folks against stronger and more evil enemies. Since the content is always different, it feels different, but it doesn't give us much difference from a structural standpoint. When you become interested in non-entertainment-based information, you will be training your brain to think in much different structures. This will make you see the same content around you with a very fresh set of eyes. Watching a series of videos on electronic music production, for example, will give you a much different structural view of things that are happening around you. Just spending a few hours over several weeks paying attention to music theory will give you a completely different appreciation of those same songs you hear over and over. Reading about a few different ancient empires will give you a completely different view of the political slogans you hear over and over. Reading about the Industrial Revolution and the invention of the cotton loom will give you a fresh set of eyes when thinking about your regular job. It's looking at the same things in your current environment, but from a much different structural perspective that will give you an added edge. This will also encourage you on a subconscious level to really appreciate what it means to be a continuous lifelong learner. I'm George Hutton. Thank you for listening to the Mind Persuasion Podcast. For more information, please visit mindpersuasion.com/money-brain. I look forward to speaking with you again soon.